G'day and welcome to the Mailbag. We have a podcast preview for day 2 of the championships live from the All Nations thanks to puntingform.com.au, betfair.com.au, and of course Mountain Goat Lager. If you're going to have a beer whilst you enjoy our show, please make sure it's a goat. G'day and welcome to a podcast version of the Mailbag Preview Show. We've got Cochin Soda Mark Rhoden. How are you?
Good, Jack. How are you? Nice to see you.
We are going to look at day 2 of the championships. Rail out 3. I thought you were very, very good last week.
That's very kind of you. I got some right, some wrong, but that's the way it goes.
Did you get anything out of the meeting, like personally, or?
Backing winners wise, or I backed out a chieftain in the chairman's.
Blinkers on. Weird. He just thought he might be going to get a little.
Well, he got a soft track. He got up in trip, and he was totally unsuited at Yarra Glen, which I hope I mentioned on the preview show last week. And he was a lot better suited on Saturday, so and big odds, so that helped. And I ended up on Noble Boy in the Country Championship, who I think when we were speaking was about 225 or something, and he was going to be back inside, and I didn't really want to be on him at that price, but he got to 320 on the official prices, and he was closer to $4 on Betfair, so fell into him, and he got the job done. Fortunately,
did you use, or how'd you find Scurry's mail?
Well, he had a blinder.
It's not always that good. Like, no one's that good.
No, it's well, I tell you what I did find is when one that I liked, such as, say, Dealmaker in the Carbon Club, he completely left out. They didn't do any good. So that was interesting. I know it's only one meeting, but actually when I did my own review on Sunday, Dealmaker was an ordinary bet anyway, and at that price I shouldn't have been on. But, that was one way I found it useful. But, yeah, he certainly had a big day.
Well, we're back to the same track, rail out 3. Is it going to be a little bit firmer than it was last weekend?
It'll be firmer for sure. It won't be rock hard. They've had so much rain, and at this time of year, you don't get, even with nice days, it's not great drying conditions because it's a bit colder overnight. So it won't. I mean, it stayed soft 5 for about 2 days now. So I assume it might get to a 4 with no rain, but it'll be sting out. At Randwick, the rail's out 3, which is not a trap of a rail position or anything, but what can happen there and what is forecast to happen is there's a strong northeasterly coming in the afternoon, which tends to mean off fence and makes it hard to lead. Doesn't mean you can't lead, but it just makes it that little bit harder.
Okay, so on the podcast today, which is powered by Punting Form, supported and made possible by betfair.com.au, and we are currently enjoying a couple of Mountain Goat lagers at the All Nations Hotel in Richmond. Thanks for having us. On this podcast, we're going to just focus on Randwick Day 2 Championships, races 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we've covered the track play. We'll kick off with race 2, 400-metre race, where I've got the Caulfield market up. That's disappointing, isn't it? Not a great start.
Switch over there.
Race 2 at Royal Randwick, Day 2 Championships, 400-metre race. Green Aeon, $5. Wild Planet T Berry, $5. Fasika for C Brown, who bit of a stopwatch ride there in the Derby. He got that spot.
Oh, didn't he? Yeah.
$5 it. Millard Reaction, $5 it. Crone, $10. Final Award, $10. Gem Song, $13. Longer the rest. Big, wide betting race to kick us off.
It is.
Are there horses here that are suited and not suited by the way the race might be run?
Yeah, I expect Green Aeon to go forward again like he did in his last start in both of his runs so far. Fasika is up to 1,400, drawn the outside gate, but surely goes forward. If they try anything clever there, they could end up in a bad spot. Nothing's terribly uncertain. Well, Millard Reaction, the Queenslander, who's been very well backed already in the early markets, just goes back. It seems to be pretty one-dimensional, so it's probably a negative, but that's just it. So you just have to put up with that if you want to be on it. Crone and Wild Planet are drawn wide, and I don't think they'll be going forward. So, they could find themselves in a tricky spot, although depending on how the track's playing, although it's only race 2, it might not be the end of the world being 3 wide if you can get a cover.
Have we got blinkers on Crone there?
Yes, but still from 11 of 13.
Yeah, be very careful, so I'll say.
You reckon I'll go forward?
Well, blinkers on X-Weir normally would mean intent, and it might mean the horse would improve by 4 or 5 to 10 lengths.
just a 10 lengths?
Gaelic chieftain style.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, this is a 3-year-old filly.
Blinkers on with market support was sort of the foundation of trying to work out Weir.
Okay, right.
For me.
Blinkers on for decades has been a...
Yeah, but particularly for Darren.
Yeah.
It's and
it's not always about the blinkers, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I might have trained the dog. I'm going to whack you in the side of the head and you're going to run really quickly.
Oh, yes.
So I've heard, because you wouldn't know, because nothing's been sort of reported in the media. No. So we're just left to our own devices there to come up with our own theories. But anyway, so race 2, 400 metres, even market. Are we going to have a bet?
I probably will. I think whatever the others want to do, Green Eon is going to be on pace, probably leading. And if some of the other jockeys want to be a bit conservative, Deolover on Crone notwithstanding, he could just get control again. I mean, he's stepping up from midweek grade, but both him and Fazika have won two really good midweek maidens.
High rating maidens,
and then high rating restricted races. So they're both 2 from 2. Green Eon looks like he's best place to get control again, and I think he's backable at that price. Fazika won on the same day as Green Eon last time, just sat 3 wide and dominated, so didn't return figures as good as Green Eon, but it just treated them with contempt, so obviously there's more to give. And Millard Reaction on my figures, I can't get it there, but it's late sectionals. I mean, they're Brisbane races, so they're a good step below, but its late sectionals are phenomenal, and he's a bit hard to mark, actually. I can see why the early shoppers wanted to be into him, because he's been so visually impressive. I don't know what his top might be.
I'm not trying to confuse you or our loyal listeners, but Tahitian Dancer paraded, wasn't like forward-ish. Well, it was forward, but wasn't there to win at Mornington.
Yep.
Outstanding ride, which was it boxed Music Bay, and it won.
Who then won by
Music Bay
yesterday.
Pissed in yesterday. So I'd expect it'll improve, and it's often a horse that I found through Victorian carnivals is just disrespecting the market and sort of worth. If you're getting heavily involved in a race it's involved in, you're going to get sort of 25 to 1. Betfair late.
It will be better off at 1400 too, I would suggest. I really liked its win at Mornington, especially with that form line through Music Bay. This is a hot race. That's the only thing against it. So, I mean, if you like the horse, I'm not going to talk you out of it, because he probably will get a price. I've got it around 20 to 1, and I liked it.
Yeah, I'd say you see 25s, maybe sort of late Betfair.
Yeah,
horse that's often ignored.
Well, they're not going to charge into Shane Nichols in Sydney, you wouldn't think. But it's a really good race. I mean, up the top, Gem Song has been a pretty solid 3-year-old, a 2-year-old and 3-year-old, but he's giving a lot of weight to horses that might well be better than him. The Crone Wild Planet race was sensational, where they raced Classique Legend, and they beat the others out of all knowledge. There was about 4 lengths or something to 4th. That race went terrific. They're both great chances as well. I just thought Green Eon's map was the most...
that was at Randwick, and that was the same day as Tahitian Dancer.
It was Rose Hill, yeah.
Yeah, Rose Hill.
Yep.
All right, race number 5, 3-year-olds, 1,200 metre Group 2, Classique Legend, the horse you just mentioned, $4.60. Avantage. Is it a Kiwi?
It is.
Kiwi, bro?
Yep.
$4.80. Encryption. Surely it's got to break through sooner or later. The Lion Savage at Charlie Sheen style, $6. Zusane, $7. Trope for T Berry, $8.50. Baller. Scurry loves this horse. It will be in the numbers. Be careful. Warning to all, $13. Lean Mean Machine, $16 and longer. The rest. Horses here that you think are suited by the map and like some that might be cast, drawn wide gates. Zusane from 12s looks scary. Baller at 13.
Out of the shoot at Randwick, only one turn. I'm not put off by Zusain's barrier on its own. Baller.
Zara too.
What's that?
Mark Zara's on baller.
Oh, yeah.
Drawn 13. You know,
but a horse like him, just sit out there. Have you seen him? He's a giant of a beast. And
Scurries.
Yeah.
I promise you there'll be two horses. There's three horses that I can tell you will be probably on top from the yard.
Yep.
It's Baller.
Yep.
I'll tell you Nikita Jane.
Yep.
And Elise. Elise is his favourite animal.
Well, they're all great looking horses. I can see
probably
why.
loves Elise more than his children.
That's okay.
He's obsessed. He's obsessed.
In terms of what's not suited,
and I believe Pete Anthony actually. Sorry, our man. He's involved with Advantage.
Is he really? That's interesting.
So exciting for him and his brother.
7 wins from eight starts. That's not a bad horse to be involved in.
He's gifted with ownership.
Yeah. I wasn't particularly worried about the barriers for those two on their own. What might Jonker will go forward. Avantage won't be far away. Classic Legend, I think, gets a trail of a couple of others this time, rather than K McAvoy jumping a length and a half in front, then sitting 3 wide for no reason, half lengthing. That was I didn't back it, but if I had, I would have been ropeable with that at about 220. That was bizarre, but he looks like he could just lob behind leaders here.
Yep.
Not suited. Prophet's Thumb, who's never suited, especially when it draws in. Encryptions will get back. Drawn 3. You'd rather it was 8 or 10, but it's not out of the race. Trope will go back as well.
What did you make of Causeway Girl last week? I thought 200 out. I was getting
good, but that's
firming.
Yeah. So I know you had an interest on her last week, but that's about her, I think.
Yeah, I think fair. Was it Oliver's special last week?
Gave it every.
How's he rolls into Randwick?
Yeah.
Last race of the day and he dictates to them all.
Yeah.
This is how fast we're going, guys. If you don't mind.
I don't want to harp on this, but speaking of jumping, I was on Mizzy, who jumped a length in front, and then Snick, and I could not, and somehow managed to be 6th.
It might be like Victoria. If Damien tells you to have his way.
Maybe. Yeah, he's a grand old man of Australian racing now.
He's a big doggy dog.
Anyway, back to this one. I've that's the wrong race you've got undone. So you just go back to race 5. Thanks. 4th up first prep, not ideal considering where he's come from and where he is now, but Classic Legend, his 2 Kenzo wins were phenomenal. And then, as I touched on, he was pretty well slaughtered last start. If he's not over the top, 4th up first prep, if he gets the run, I think he will at that price that he is. I think he's
Manny Marquis.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is a great point. If he's over the top, that will probably show in the yard, and we'll know. I'm probably going to early doors take the risk on him at the price, because if he's on, he probably should be shorter than that. Other chances, Zeus saying trial the right since the new market. Go back to his form of last spring, he'd be favourite in this for sure. One more chance. I'm very 50-50 with him, though, but he's got to be a chance. Encryption, as you say, just savages. Hate backing horses like that, because all they do is break your heart. But
and drawn 3,
chance. It's not great.
Drawn 3, Hugh. It's going to get held up.
There's a very good chance it'll get held up. And Avantage. Avantage doesn't actually have to lead here, but will be on pace. And is 1-7 out of 8. What can you say to knock her?
Nothing.
Not much. So, so leaning Classic Legend. But as you say, the mounting yard key. If it expressed out on the fair in the last 2 minutes, you could probably be tearing your tickets up, I think.
Okay. Race number 6 is a 3-year-old fillies over 2,400. It's the Oaks. It's a Group 1. Very elegant. Another Kiwi.
Yeah.
For Kiwi jockey, James Mack. $1.65 if you don't mind. This is a horse that was started probably 8s in the Oaks in Victoria. Oh, frustrating for those that were on at 12s.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's $1.60 in it. Yeah, God almighty. Frankly Awesome, Hugh Bowman, K. Lees, $6. Aristia, Mad Puller, $8.50. Scarlet Dream, $19. And Longer the rest. This looks like every horse sort of get their chance. Do you expect a good tempo or a walk?
It won't be strong. I don't think they'll be going hard, which is why I thought. Well, I didn't know what to think they were going to do with Very Elegant.
Would the rule be Chris Waller 12 expected to be schnicked, but is a Group 1, so maybe he might roll forward?
Yeah, and it's this horse too. I mean,
It's a mad puller. It's a mad puller. If you try and restrain this thing, you're not going to. You're going to just defeat it.
It's absolutely flown on heavy tracks, as you would have seen, and it's 2 goes in Sydney. But it's had low draws both times, so even if it wasn't the best ground, it got plenty of cover. And she was over racing anyway. I mean, don't worry about that. She was still going very keen, getting her head up a lot. But she did have a back to follow, for most of the race in both cases. So I approached this and thought, well, it's drawn 12, they'll go back and try and get cover. And there's really not a great deal of speed in the race. So then
it's not suited.
It's not suited. Or do you take the risk and say, right, I could get outside lead here, no problem, but she just fires up,
I think
the degree and she's out of business.
The responsible thing to think is that they'll be neutral to negative and protect the horse, which they aren't doing, but that's what they think they're doing. That's how they ride these. That's how this stable rides those draws, and I don't think it matters what race it is.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think you'd probably have to be certifiable to take 6 to 4 on. She'll either be back and or wide, or look, if she lobs outside the leader and she drops her head for the first time in her life, she'll win by 6 lengths.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing to talk about, because sometimes when someone like you or I say that, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to bet into the race.
No.
Or want to lay the horse. It just means I think it's probably going to win, but I don't want to take that price.
Well, I've got not giving any secrets, I've got a 240, a very neutral price. You know what I mean? It's like, no way it's a bet, but I've got a 240, so I'm not saying this is low of the centre either, am I? So, the obvious danger is Frankly Awesome, the beautifully bred filly that Chris Lees has. It's the one, I mean, we've seen what Very Elegant can do. Frankly Awesome has always shown ability. She's 5th up, 2,400. She gets her chance.
Did my girl and Mick Kent's girl and John Allen, you'll have a little cheeky black spurs on, won't you, John, you dirty little Irishman?
Is it Bye
Belly? Did it show you anything?
Absolutely nothing, but it's Mick Kent, so I'm not going to say I can't.
It's giving up your sleeve.
Yeah. What do you reckon about Aristia? Dry track 2,400?
The most honest, stable. Like, if they're just Ellen and Zara just raced horses and it was just Ellen and Zara versus Ellen and Zara, we'd all be so rich, because they just do as they should.
They're a year ahead of me at high school, actually, the pair of them.
Oh, really?
But Brett Honest at St Bede's in Mentone, obviously.
He's a funny little fucking...
Which one?
Simon.
Okay. Anyway.
The other guy, I don't know if he speaks, but Simon's very funny. I think Aristia is... I think it showed a real lot early, first up at Flemington.
It did, yep, I agree.
And
it hasn't been, well, heavy 10s, twice in a row.
Yeah, it's... It wouldn't surprise me if it won, but I don't like horses come off the heavies.
Okay. It should be fit, I would say. But,
I reckon this is a race to just... If you're smart enough, lucky enough to... losing punter enough to have a really big winning, Very Elegant ticket, like leading into this race, let's watch that and ride that out, but... Other than that, I couldn't get involved here.
Could Very Elegant be next year's Winx and something else be the gust of wind that beat Winx in the Oakstack? Yeah.
Well, even when it's won, it's done so... The races it's won, to my eye, when I'm reviewing races, and I haven't reviewed the races thoroughly, FYI, but it was over racing still. It was incredibly green in the straight. Didn't go straight. No. So if it rolled along nicely, settled, and went straight... Yeah, it could improve by another 5 lengths and just destroy this.
Certainly say it could, but there's no evidence at all to say it will.
Yep.
She's never raced attractively in her life.
No, she has once at Caulfield.
Was that?
There's a bog track, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Away from those 3 that we've already mentioned, Scarlet Dream sort of finished alongside Frankly Awesome in the Kembla Grange Classic, and then I'm going to say just didn't handle the heavy 10, rough chance. Got Oliferous, who knocked off my good thing, Amangiri, last Saturday. Amangiri was a dead set $1 chance if it ran 2,000. It ran about 1,950, and this thing knocked it off. On the upward spiral, these are all very speculative, very minor chances. A couple of Imelda Mary and Clementina, New Zealanders. I've got all these things about 25s, And
I think it's a race just to watch. By the sounds.
I agree.
Race number 7, the Queen Elizabeth, 2,000 metres, Group 1, weight for age with a gigantic paycheck for the winner and a pretty small field. I think it's a really boring, disappointing race.
Well, I'll tell you my assessed price, that I put a lot of time and effort into. I've come up with $1.13. And if you can layer at $1.06, let's just layer all day. That's obviously the play in the race.
Well, when you're in my shoes and you've laid it for the last 17 starts, you've got to keep going.
You've got to. This is your last chance.
Look, let's not talk much about the race. What do you think of Winks?
She's the best horse I've ever seen, no doubt. And I know she's raced. She's been a bit looked after.
I think I'm disappointed that she hasn't gone overseas.
Me too. I'm disappointed that
all great Australians go and ply their trade overseas.
Look, sure, but that's a separate issue from how good she is. And
100%.
She is the best I've ever seen. I think it's a real shame she didn't go overseas at her peak. She's too old now.
I agree.
18 months ago or 2 years ago would have been great. After she'd won.
I think it's going to be to her detriment in 20 years.
It could be too early. It could be.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Look, I can't prove this, but you know how the Brits and various other people. It's more the British than the Americans for some reason are really anti-Winks. They say, oh, she's beating nothing, and it's all.
No, because when you go over to England, they're all a bit. They're pasty and short.
Yeah, well, it's.
Because they don't get much sun. They eat shit food.
Yeah.
It's all deep fried.
It's dark 90% of the year.
They're not happy. Come here birds.
So they're going to be very, very anti-Winks. But I would say in Cox Plate Day 2016, no horse racing in the world on that day would have beaten her or got near her.
Yeah.
She smashed Hartnell, who was absolutely airborne by 8 lengths. That's the single greatest run I think I'll ever see in. Yeah,
I think Australia. She's just beautiful. Just like watching Federer play tennis.
Yeah, and
Gary Ablett Senior play football.
Yeah.
It's just one of the.
She goes around to 10s on every start, but she's not beating complete mugs. These aren't welter horses, She's beaten Happy Club 10 times.
She's separated from the betting side of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I just wish she went overseas.
And I wish, in retrospect, the Autumn Sun had run against her in the Cox Plate, so you could have seen just how.
I actually reckon the Autumn Sun would have got found out, but
no, that's what I'm saying, and I think the Autumn Sun got found out this autumn. His 3 wins were all spectacular because he got himself into shocking positions, but that was
the form out of those races aren't stacking up.
Even last spring.
Yeah.
But to get yourself in a position when you're 8-10 lengths off the lead, off pretty run-of-the-mill group class 3-year-old, and then it takes you 200 metres of hard riding to even pick the bit up. You've got a flaw. You've got a real. If you race top class like Winks, you will get hammered. I would think, but anyway, we'll never know now because
it's going to be a great game. That's what it's all about, and that's why
tens and tens of millions of dollars a year.
And there's no taxes involved.
No. Anyway,
But we're betting into 100. And,
interesting to see what J Mac does on He's Eminent again, who. Led Avilius in the Randvet first up.
Yeah.
I expect him to lead again. It'll be interesting to see how long he hangs on for.
Okay, race number 8. It's the Sydney Cup, 1,300 metres. Yeah. It's the Melbourne Cup's poor, tiny little cousin or step cousin, half cousin. It's the Group 1 handicap. Market is as follows. Juba.
Juby.
Yep. 350. Midterm, $9. Big Duke, $9. Yogi Bear, 13s. Shro, 13s. Shrow, 13s. Red Cardinal, 14s. Gaelic Chieftain, 18s. And longer, the rests. Tempo?
There'll be some. There's a few. We'll go forward again. Vonja Mask, I don't know if you saw P. Maloney's effort on it last week where he just punched on and on and on forward and finally got the front after 1,000 or so metres. I think the overall put it in a.
You reckon he might be a slight improvement?
I think he might be a slight improvement and he'll get where he wants to be earlier. He's got no hope of winning.
Probably fair call.
But there's, I haven't got them in front of me here. There's about 3 or 4 who will, it won't be a hurdle pace by any means.
Can I back Yogi?
If you want, it won't win, but no.
I always love Yogi.
No, 3,200.
Yeah, it's all ticks here. I just need 1300 and tempo.
Tempo's fine. Yep. Away you go. Interesting thing about the Sydney Cup. Because, in the Melbourne Cup, you got like a 1,000-metre run virtually to the first turn or longer.
It's
Sydney Cup sort of starts and then into a bend pretty soon. You might think in a 2-mile race barriers are the least of your worries.
100%.
Wide draws don't win it.
Yeah.
Even if down the middle is the spot to be, you've got to have a soft run.
Wouldn't you want to be drawn sort of 4 to 10 here?
Yeah. Well, there's a horse drawn 4. It could be an absolute moral. This QB. It's had 7 starts. Charlie Appleby, Godolphin, 7 starts, come via the Emirates, coming off a 4-length win in a 3,000-metre race, got 52.5, K McAvoy in 4. I know there's 20 in it, but I won't be betting. I couldn't bet against it. I might save around it, but that's
really
the starting point. Well,
but can you launch with confidence at a horse you're not seeing in the country at 350?
Well, it depends on by launch. I mean, I'm not having half of everything I own on it, but I'll have a good bet on it. This guy's got a great. Charlie Appleby has a great record bringing them out here, so you just got to have faith in that.
Yeah, okay? He knows what he's doing.
And it's going to get a beautiful run. McAvoy's a great rider in staying races, big staying races in particular. He's got to be top pick. What you said about the Sydney Cup being the Melbourne Cup's poor cousin. I was thinking when I was doing the form in this race this morning that this is like what the Melbourne Cup was in about 1986. You get like one import.
It's probably worth the same money as it was in 1986 too.
2 million. Yeah. I mean,
which is why it's the same.
You got one import. You probably didn't have one import in the Melbourne Cup in those days, but all these New Zealanders, you got a whole raft of New Zealanders who aren't good enough these days. The New Zealanders used to target the Melbourne Cup every year.
But also the first.
They target this now.
The first, there's probably not a horse here that was sold as a yearling in Australia. Maybe top of the range.
Rodrigo. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was sold here.
So the first stack of them are they're not imports, but they were imported.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's a pretty.
I think
York really keen number 10.
Race 8, number 10. And Gallic Chieftain's over the odds at $18 or whatever it is again.
Bossy,
I don't
thirsty.
know why. I was a bit.
No, hang on. We should talk about Glenn Boss quickly.
I think.
Has Glenn totally given up?
Well, that's what I was trying to say, and then he rode the Doncaster winner.
No, I'm talking about on women.
Oh no! Well, you've got me there.
Why is he shave it off, Glenn?
It
looked sickly.
Well, he's
bossy. Bossy's an icon. Shave your head, mate, and have a shave.
He's 50 and he weighs about 7 stone. He's not going to have the raw materials just aren't there anymore.
I was like, who the fuck is that when I saw him on the TV?
He looks unhealthily light for a man of his age to me.
Trouble is, this time of year most of them do.
Well, here he's running up against.
That's just what Cash will do to him.
Doesn't do it to me, but I can see the effect. Anyway, I think he's unproven at 3,200, but he was really good over 26 last week. He's fit, backing up, no weight, and the informed Group 1 skeleton, G-Boss. So why not? Yep,
and midterm for your mate, the water skier and Jake Carr.
So, what a combination. Her ride was sensational on this last time.
Yeah. She's got severe ability.
Yeah. He's never raced past a mile and a half as far as I know. So it's interesting.
It's a good horse in that it just makes its own luck.
So you've got no problems there. Another that will make its own luck is Rondinella, who might be a wet tracker. There'll still be some sting out. It was terrific in the Tancred and looks like it'll run 2 miles and is a bit of a price as well. Okay. It's a really good race. I mean, I haven't mentioned horses like Big Duke. I deliberately didn't mention Yogi, sorry about that. Shraro, who ran second. There's a dozen middle pin chances in this. But I think if this Appleby horse turns up in one piece, and why wouldn't it, I think, it's probably the winner. But again, Yard will be interesting, although we won't have seen it before, but the Yard will be interesting.
I reckon that's when he's at his best.
Okay.
Oh, no. He's very insightful.
Okay. Well, that'll be...
Scurry's big on the type.
Okay.
Which You want the yard to be completely separate from the form and the map and everything. Just you combine them yourself.
Yep.
Anyway, race 9, Queen of the Turf over the mile. It's a weight for age, and it's probably it's a Group 1, even though it's only for fillies and mares. Alize Hugh Bowman, $5. Nikita Jane, $8.50. Amphitrite, $9. Unforgotten, $10. Dixie Blossoms, $12. Prompt Response, $12s. Fundamentalist, $16s. And Daisy Doom, $19s. Longer the rest. This will be, I'd assume, from my memory of this sort of race, shit hot speed, fast.
You do tend to get speed just from the numbers, the size of the field. If I can find my actual speed map, that'd be a good start. I think it'll be okay. It might not be breakneck, but it'll be solid. Nothing will be unsuited by the tempo or lack thereof on its own.
Horses that you think will get the right sort of run, or that you're looking to find here?
To be honest, I think there's two ways to attack the race, and it's you like Alize or you don't. She, I said last week, she was horribly weighted in the Doncaster with 56.5 against the males. Now she's carrying 57 against the females, and they all are except the fillies, except the 3-year-old fillies. So weights-wise, she is absolutely thrown in. What you've got to say is she going to run 1,600? Well, she won the race last year, so I think we can say yes. Given the right conditions, yes.
That's what you said last week. You said you gets the mile against the mares. Or the
yes, and carrying 56.5. Well, she had absolutely no chance last week. She settled 20th of 20 in the run, and it was a very moderate pace in the Doncaster. I've seen a bit of conjecture about that, but there was no doubt in my mind that was a moderate pace. I mean, Dream Force has led and run second, so it was moderate. Yep. She settled last.
It makes total sense to me.
Alize settled last, didn't handle the track, I'm going to say, and didn't get past a horse. Now, this
SP is favourite though, didn't it?
No, got out to $13 as it should have.
Sorry.
As it should have.
Oh, yeah.
As it should have. But it had no hope in that, in my opinion.
Yep.
Now, the only reason I'd be looking to back out on Saturday is that, and this is fraught with danger, James Cummings, though, did say, I read his comments, he said she was kicking the joint down again by Monday. It was like she hadn't had a run. Now, if that's the case, if she's taken no harm, she's not over the top, again, Yard will be critical here. If she's where she should be, and James Cummings said we have to run her this week. She's just doing that well. So if that's the case, she's thrown in this, and she's a bet.
What about Sedanza?
Yeah, really wanted to be with her. Blinkers on, we'll get a great run. She's just, if she can only win if Alize's not right.
Yep.
But if Alize is not right, she's got some chance. That's not her only issue, though. A couple of those fillies down the bottom have got great chances, Amphitrite and Nikita. Love the 2,000 metre lead up for
the Autumn Sun over a mile.
Yeah, no doubt. And drawn 18 here, which probably not the end of the world if that wind's got up by race 9, which it almost certainly will have. So, even 3-4 wide if you're not absolutely swinging out there, can be fine. She's a very good filly. She can win this. And Amphitrite, her best run last campaign was the Caulfield Guineas, the 1,000 Guineas win, I would say. And that was fourth up at 1,600. So
the Caulfield, down the outside.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's $13 or something.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no,
bigger than that.
Bigger, okay, yeah.
She exploded.
Yeah. That was her best run of the prep, and I
think she's going to suit Randwick.
Oh, for sure. And she's fourth up at 1,600, so which was what she was that day. So, big chance. So I really thought it was.
Sounds to me like you're going to back Alize, and then maybe snip some like rougher horses, or you're going to back sort of Nikita, Amphitrite, and that's sort of mainly where you're.
I think well, just the individual punter's got to decide. I think the first horse you've got to make your decision on is Alize. Are you with her or against her? That's your starting point. I mean, I don't recommend that anyone use Twitter as a a form reference, but there's been a lot of, as soon as the fields came out in the barriers, a lot of people were saying, oh, how could you back Alizé because she ran, 25th last week. Well, okay, if that's the way you feel, if you think she's over the top, and you may be right.
Better question for you then. What price does she start? She's $5 currently.
Oh, Christ. I mean, if she
starts $4, she's a moral.
She could start $4 if the syndicates tune into her and all the other boxes of theirs are ticked. If you wanted to be really aggressive with her, you could have her as short as you like.
Yeah.
Her best form just wins this at the weights. But that's up to the individual. Some people might have been on her last week and are sick of her. It's up to you. I think I'm going to trust what James Cummings was saying. Said we just completely bin that.
You're leaning to it.
I'm leaning to it at this stage. The All-Star Mile run, where she had that's still good enough to win this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she went huge. She just didn't get the last little bit.
Yeah. Against Mystic Journey and Hartnell.
One thing is worth noting is Scurry was very taken by the way she paraded last week. It was a bit different.
That's interesting. But she had no chance after about 400 metres.
Yeah.
And she wasn't bashed around in the straight. She just worked to the line.
All right, race 10, the Sapphire Stakes, 1,200 metres, Group 2, fillies and mares. Sprite, $4.50. Winner Bride, $5.50. I'm excited, $9. Resin, bit of resin, not 50. Manicure, $10. And Vincevella, 11s, and longer the rest. Horses you think might get a lovely run here? Any?
Yeah, Manicure, Resin, even possibly I'm excited. Sets up all right for her.
Tempo in this race?
Is okay. Not great. I thought even Irithea and the other thing drawn wide, Kiwista, sure, we'll have to go forward with it from 16.
Is Sprite a moral?
It is never a moral because it always gets back. I'm very strong on this, and you'll see.
Do you support my inclination to launch at it?
No, because she's drawn 3. This is a horse you want drawn 12.
Yeah.
He's going to have to. If Collett's the right jockey, he's a great get back inside, pick his way through jockey. Don't worry about that. I thought he rode it really well at the Valley against Sunlight.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done much more. He got the little check halfway up the straight, but there was a wall in front of him.
Sunlight went pretty good last week.
Sunlight it sure did. Sprite on form is the favourite. Up to you to take the risk.
I'm going to be having one little victim bet because that's sort of what I end up doing when I'm trying to discuss round week horses like Sydney horses with you is encryption into Sprite.
Yeah, okay.
They
both get back horses.
Yeah, but they're both from the good race at Caulfield, which
the Oakley Plate.
Yeah, the Oakley Plate.
Both I'd have a couple of points shorter in my markets if they were drawn 10, not 3. No, both drawn 3, I think.
And a horse that I'm sure Scurry will find is a 15 teleplay. This is a Panther which has been stolen by skyracing.com.au. We're going to have a little chat to you guys about getting some kind of retainer. If you want Scurry to come in and consult for you and help you with terms to describe how horses parade, we're happy to supply that information, but there needs to be a transaction.
Well, Teleplay's got Winks form, raised Winks last time in the George Ryder, so you can't knock the form line. I think 1,200. I think she's a 1,200 metre horse too. She probably has to find a new peak to win this, but probably gets a few things in her favour. What price did we say I'm excited was? Yeah, look, they're all about the right price here. The Resin and Manicure, 2 of the Godolphin ones have got chances. Mapwell, they're there. They're probably right price. The one.
That's Resi.
The one. The one who might be some chance at a middle pin price is Sabatiano, back to 1,200, but it's a bit of a mess of a race to me. Sprite, best horse, top pick, wrong spot.
Winner Bride could win, just explode the sort of stable that does things that aren't natural sometimes. Now,
Barrier one.
Best bet, value bet.
Okay, best.
For the punters at home. Look, I'm going to have to say
Juby.
Yep.
In the Sydney Cup is the best. With obviously we don't know. We haven't seen it out here.
The majority of people listen to this should be buying the Man Mail. They can overlay it on top of each other. If you get it, you're not going to get much shorter than $3.50. Surely $3 is about low as they're going to go.
Well, they put up $3 and they haven't been able to lay it. The corp, so it's got out now to $3.60. Yep. So we'll see. It's going to have. There'll come a point where it's backed. It's had 7 starts. It's a 4-year-old. It's got 52.5 and it maps well. It's just got to be. There's got to be support for it. Best. What do we say? Value. I might say. I might go a little bit left field and then the last. I hate the race, and it'll only be a small. Not hate the race, but it's a bit messy. Savatiano.
Race 10, number 11, Savatiano. Is it Glyn on?
It is Glyn, very 12. It's clearly not the stable elect, but it's. Look, the reason I give her a chance is her just about the best run of her life was last year in a 3-year-old restricted race at the Randwick 1200, and she won by about 5. Also dropping in distance that day. She's dropping in distance on Saturday. So at 15 to 1 or something, why not?
Okay, we have one viewer question which I picked out from the bunch and from the emails is from Matthew. What's the first step for you? I'll answer as well. Mm-hmm. When doing the form, do you start with a map? Do you start with an overall assessment of the prices off your ratings, or do you look at some data?
No, me, map first. I have a database, but the way I do the form is I prepare a spreadsheet for that race, and it's got all the historical ratings and all that stuff in it, but I look at that after I've done the map. The first thing, and I've got a pretty good working knowledge of most fields of horses in Sydney, so I can do a map pretty quickly, know most of the jockeys' likes and dislikes as well.
I think that's the important thing.
Then I'm like, well, and I think you'd be similar. Then you go, okay, well, this and this are advantage now. What are the numbers going to tell me?
Yeah, so I do a map I use punting form. I open up the worksheet on punting form, so I get nothing other than the horse name, jockey, trainer, and the barrier, and then I do a map. And then I think it's one of the crucial. It's why it's crucial, and it's one of the biggest benefits of betting in one jurisdiction, is you have a really good idea of, like Waller drawn 12, Michael Walker, he'll snick this, because you need to make decisions on 3 or 4 horses. Yeah. To finalise your map. I like to do that before I start so that I can't get biased, because when you start out in punting, I'm sure of it, everyone does it, is you go like, I'm going to back Sprite. Yeah. And you know what he could do here? He could kick up a little bit. He could just kick up a little bit, find 2 or 3 pairs off, get its back, peel out in the straight, and fucking bang. It doesn't happen. Yeah.
Everyone does that because everyone has.
That's how the game bites you. Well, is by following a few horses.
Well, everyone, in a sense, black books. When they're starting out, or even the recreational, or casual punters who take it pretty seriously. They go, "Oh, I was on this. It was a certainty beaten. I've got to get my money back on this next time," and it might not be suited again.
All right, that'll do us for the hardcore racing part of the show. We've got. So where do we get your stuff? Championbets.com.au, winningedge.com.au.
Yeah, Winning Edge Investments. Either of those sites, identical service through both. So go there.
We'll have Mounting Yard Mail from Caulfield. We're back, punters. We had a big little set at Sandown. Johnny Allen. God bless you, John. He was good to me. We're back there at Caulfield. We've got Scurry live and fire it up from Randwick Day to the Championships off his biggest day he's ever had. Get on board. If you're ever going to get Sydney, give it a go. That's all we've got. There's no spots on the movers. I think they might be about to do some of a dry run. Somebody's about to drop off. Now, that'll do us. Richmond, are they gone?
It's going to be very tough.
Swan's about to kick off tonight. They lose tonight to the D's.
Ooh.
Nervy times. Thanks for listening, punters. Feedback always welcomed as we try and perfect our products for you. Thank you to Betfair, Punting Form, and Mountain Gate. Bye-bye.